Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to another Design Me Devon, where I take your builds and renovate them into something new. Today, what we're going to be doing is renovating a Frank Lloyd Wright inspired build that one of you lovely people put up on the hashtag Design Me Devon for me to renovate. So that is exactly what I went ahead and did. This was so much fun to renovate. It was a gorgeous house, and I had a few limitations that I'm going to speak through with you now. So without further ado, let's flop on over, have a look at the build beforehand, and then we'll get into the renovation process. Now here we are with the house in question. This was built by the wonderful Shannon Builds, and it's called the Ennis Frank House. I was like, oh, I know this style of house and I want to renovate it. So this is what Shannon says. Designed by the visionary Ennis Frank, the Frank Lloyd Wright of Del Sol Valley. This architectural gem was once the pride of the neighborhood, heavily inspired by falling water. Abandoned and forgotten, it's now a sleeping beauty waiting for revival. With endless potential, we can't wait to see what the new homeowners do with the place. She also said that you could get rid of the rocks and the stuff around it, but I was just like, no, I think that should stay. And yeah, thank you so much, Shannon, for letting me renovate your build. It was absolutely glorious. It really was. So let's head on over to this house in question and have a little look around. And here she is in all of her glory. First off, look how gorgeous the landscaping and the terrain manipulation is. Just beautiful. You did such a great job here. There was no way I was knocking this down because I wanted this all to stay. And we're going into the interiors. Obviously on the outside, there's not much around, and I kept it that way. I kept a lot of things the same because in my head, this would be a kind of listed building. I don't know what they're called in America. I think I do. Is it heritage buildings? I think that could be right. So you wouldn't be allowed to change much of this. This was done by a very famous architect. You know the protocol and stuff. So I didn't want to knock down any walls. I didn't want to get rid of any of the original windows and stuff. I didn't want to change the floor plan on the interior, and I didn't want to change the interior too much. I still kept the same color palette everywhere. We just went with new carpets, different wall types. I did end up putting a few wood panels up. The story behind that was maybe they kind of painted over the wall panels like back in the day, and they wanted to bring it back to the original way of everything being. So that is exactly what I did with this place. I did, however, get rid of the swimming pool out the back here, and we went ahead and put in a natural pool down here. I just thought this looked really lovely, this area, and I was like, oh, I want to utilize that for something. And a natural pool was the way. So this is what I did once. Let's show you the build first. So we've got these areas here, but they really cleverly. I love the fact that you've used these on the floor. Never thought of doing that before. That's such a good touch. Well done to you for that, because I'm definitely going to be stealing that idea off of you for some more abandoned builds that I'll be doing in the future. Same up here as well. But yeah, really lovely. So down here, it's almost like a conversation pit. I really like this idea, and I kept this exactly the same down here, just like a nice sitting area, entertaining space. I end up putting a bar and stuff in here too. I end up making this one here into a bedroom, like a guest bedroom with a bathroom down here. We kept that exactly the same. And then upstairs, we kept this whole layout the same, but I played around with the platforms a little bit. I actually rose the living room up, which is where I put the living room over here. I do a little dining room here. We still keep this as a bathroom. We just make the bathroom fit in with the house a little bit better. And we do a nice kitchen in this area that I end up putting in some access space to be able to get out onto this area here. What else did I do? And then upstairs, we do this as a whole bedroom suite. So it's a 2-bedroom house. You could make it into more, but because I was working with those kind of limitations about putting walls up and stuff, that just wasn't a factor for this. So I end up making this into a bedroom with its own big bathroom up here. And I even keep the airing cupboard or boiler cupboard exactly the same too. And as I said, I kept the same color like carpets and played around with the walls. Again, with this here, like the wallpapers, there's a few like wallpapers here and there, like this one in this area too. I end up pretending that they took that off, and then there's like kind of either exposed brick or wood paneling behind them. But I had so much bloody fun doing this. I really did. And it's inspired me to go back and maybe recreate another kind of Frank Lloyd Wright inspired house. I would really like to do that in the future. So maybe when I get back off my holiday, that can be a thing. I've written it down. So that's what we're going to do. Nothing more to say. Shannon, once again, thank you so much for this gorgeous build. We are now going to go into the renovation process and you will see what I came up with. Well, here we are with my favourite part, of course, and that is the vertical cleanup process. So I went around and got rid of the landscaping that I knew I wasn't going to need. And I knew from this point that I was going to be putting in that natural pool. So I got rid of most of that stuff from there. Plus a lot of the dried bushes and stuff that were kind of around everywhere, including the pool. We knew we were putting one in. I end up going for a kind of over a canopied seating area over there. And in my head, I think this is the storyline. They found the kind of original blueprints of the house and there was something like that planned. So they got permission from the, I don't know, what would it be, council to actually add that on, or the heritage people to add that onto the house because that was in the original planning. So there we go. Storylines loves the storyline. And then I go around and get rid of everything that I just think we didn't need in here. I kept all of the original seats and the radiators. I kept them where they are. I think in one place I did actually have to move one. And yeah, but everything else kind of went really, because there was just stuff in here that I just didn't think reflected on what I wanted to use once I started the renovation process. So that goes for like all of these bits, the sofa and stuff. We go for something a lot more fitting, but we still stick with the same kind of color palettes throughout the whole of this house, and it just really worked. This is all down to Shannon's build. Like, this build was just chef's kiss perfection. It really was. Did I say chef's piss then? No, I think I said kiss, not chef's piss. We don't want that, thank you. But yeah, I actually go ahead and stick with the same ish color palette for the bathrooms, but we just improve on them, make them look like they could be in this kind of environment or area, like desert, what's it called again, Oasis Springs. So yeah, we go down that route too. But love the cleanup process, but there wasn't a whole lot that I needed to clean up. There was a few things that I'd missed, but I found them once I got to the actual putting the furniture in. And yeah, it was fine. It was absolutely fine. But I love the floor plan of this house. I really did. So this is where I go in and put in the natural pool now. If I ever won the lottery, there wouldn't be any signs apart from me living in the countryside in a lovely country house. That's a big sign. And having a natural pool. I would love a natural swimming pool. I don't like your generic tiled swimming pools. I like the natural ones. They're absolutely gorgeous. I've swum in a few in my lifetime and they're just beautiful things. They really are. They make you feel like you're out in nature, and they're also really beneficial for nature as well because you use a lot of plants and stuff around them. Make sure obviously the plants are native to where you live and whatnot. But yeah, I had a good time. I really bloody did. And we end up going for a very sorry, I'm chiffoning around here. Chiffoning? Okay. Yeah, we end up going for some plants and stuff around on that pool there too as well. Very nice. And I just go ahead and put a little bit more texture on the terrain paint. That was absolutely expertly done as well, Shannon. Well done. Not realistic, but it kind of is. Maybe they want to get in some more mature trees. So we bought 3 mature trees and just popped them around the lot itself. And I thought it worked out quite nicely. Very nicely indeed. Using some debug plants and stuff just to put it in and make it feel a bit more natural. And I think it bloody works. It really does, and it fits in with those rocks gorgeously, this pool. And I think it's the perfect spot for it too, because it's secluded from the neighbours and it's in front of the house. It's easy to get to. Very nice touch. Very nice touch. I'm glad that I went ahead and did that. I really did. And I also kind of pays respect to the actual falling water house that Frank Lloyd Wright designed, because there's lots of water through that house, isn't there? So that was another reason. So this is me now going ahead and putting in that original blueprint that they found. It's lucky that they found that on the deeds. It really is. In my head, I wanted a seating area out here, and I was just like, being in Oasis Springs, you're going to want some kind of cover. And I was like, ooh, why don't we do a canopy above the house and connect it through using some fences, just so it looks like it's part of the house. And this is what I came up with. We use a lot of the materials that are already on the house too, so it kind of blends in quite nicely. And I think once I connect it through with the fences, you'll see it in just a second. I just spat everywhere then. you'll see that it kind of like blends in really nicely, and it just looks like a nice addition to the house. It really does. I was very pleased with this. I was very pleased with this on the of the outcome, especially towards the end. And obviously you'll get to see the before and afters in a minute. Yes, you will indeed. But this is the last video I'm pre-recording for this week. Well, I'm not pre-record. Well, I am. All videos this week are going to be pre-recorded, including the next Let's Build the Worlds as well. And then videos throughout then are all pre-recorded too, because I'm off on my Italian adventure, darlings, and I'm very excited. But yeah, what else can we say here? This is where I start connecting it in. In the beginning, I used the chunky like patio liner one. I forgot what it's called, but it just looked a little bit too chunky. So I go ahead. I don't know if I do it on camera. I use the flatter ones on this instead. Oh, I'm doing it now. Look, and it just fits in a lot better, and it still keeps the trim that I put on there. It just, yeah, a lot more streamlined, and I just think that was a nice touch. So this bit here, I put in some kind of outdoor furniture, and then under the canopy itself, I do a big dining space out there for entertaining and stuff. And I just think it just works, loves. It really does. And we put in some olive trees on each of the corners as well. Again, perfect climate for it, and it just works out really nicely. And we put in some lights out. I forget what light I put out here, to be honest with you. Oh, this one here, and I size it down just so there is some lighting at night. Ended up putting in some chairs, and I changed the orientation of the coffee table too, just because it needed it. It needed something else out there. And we go ahead and put in some new patio bricks as well, and then I go ahead and line them all up with the patio liner. And I just thought it was a nice touch. It really was. I'm trying to put it in there. It was going in the basement and whatnot. Don't know why that was going on. Could have just grabbed it like that. I was being daft. Now you see me go ahead and start putting in new carpets. I thought it was important for you to kind of see what I was doing, like to change the interior without changing it too much. I just thought it was quite important to do that. And yeah, I end up going for very similar colors here and there, but I just strip things back in certain places, and I don't know. I just thought it looked a lot much the same. Aiden, get in the bin right now. Push down on that pedal and climb in, darling. No, I just want, it looked very similar, but I wanted it to look fresh. There we go. That was a better way of wording it. So that is indeed what I did. But yeah, we're into the interiors now. Though, as I said, there was not much out on the exterior at all. Didn't want to change things too much. But with this, I decided on putting in a little console table there. Some nice kind of like modern abstract art. I do go ahead and change a few of the pillar colours as well, just so it fit in a little bit better. They sandblasted those down to get a better colour going through. That's the storyline, thank you. End up going back to what I originally had. Indecisive me. And yeah, but do you know what I mean? It still looks exactly the same as what it was. It just looks fresher and newer, and still with the same colour palette and stuff. But I was very pleased with it. Very pleased with it indeed. So this is an entertaining space, really. I could have done with putting in I wish I did now, like a stereo down here, because I do end up putting in a bar in here at a bit of a later date. This little area here that I'm doing now actually does change quite a bit, because I do end up putting a bar in this area here. We end up replacing the radiators. We end up putting a door in, so this wasn't an ensuite anymore. And just so it was a toilet for this whole floor to be able to use. And I just thought it was nice. And then I put in these lovely spinning chairs from Pierre Sim's Refined Living Room kit pack. Again, my favourite kit pack. And I just thought they fit into the space really nicely. And this is me going ahead and putting in paneling now. I was just like, do you know what? I think paneling would look better in certain areas. I still exposed a few. Oh, no, we didn't. No, didn't expose brick down here. Don't know why I did that. That brick looked good then. I do leave areas of brick in other places in the house though, so you'll see that in a second. But maybe it just wasn't in my storyline for this part. Not at all. But this is me putting on wallpaper into the bedroom. We go for brown carpet, but we just make it look a little bit fresher. I just really wanted it to look exactly like it was, but just with a brand new, a new lease of life with everything. And it was fun doing it this way. It really was. It was fun having these limitations. But these are the colours that I go for the bathroom. So there's still that very kind of earthy tone vein that we're using everywhere, but just a lot more fresher and newer. I do end up putting in 2 new windows. That's it. I forgot to say that. But that just goes into the bathroom, and they're the windows that we're using everywhere else in the house. So it just kind of like fit in quite nicely. They got permission for that. Thank you. Because they saw sense. They didn't want the toilet to be cramped and smelling of poo. Thank you. This is me not figuring out an orientation of what to do here. So I end up just putting in a couple of the spinny chairs rather than 4 of them. And it's a nice little reading nook. And then we've got this gorgeous bar that I forget about all the time. I think that came with the Casanova pack. I can't remember, but it's just stunning. That is the most perfect bar that the Sims 4 have ever done. I love it, and I'm going to be using that to death because I only just got reminded of it in this build. So yeah, that's what's happening. So I just like the fact that we've got an area here for entertaining, especially with a nice bar and stuff. It works out lovely, really does. Very pleased with the whole outcome of this. Yeah, looking forward to doing that Frank Lloyd Wright inspired build. I really am. So into the spare bedroom, just a nice double bedroom for guests. I would imagine this would be a guest bedroom. If not, you could have a teen living in here, but in my head, this was a guest bedroom. It's on the entertaining floor, not far for them to walk and stuff after a night of entertaining. So, or being entertained, sorry, if they're guests. So yeah, very simple, very nice, but very stylish and very classic. I'm very much for it. All these varies today, but I very much am. Very much am indeed. I show you how I furnish this bathroom. We do go ahead and furnish. There are 3 bathrooms in this house, by the way, 1 on each floor. They're all furnished exactly the same. Some of them are a little bit bigger, and I do end up putting a bath into the other 2 above. You'll see me furnish another one once we get up there. But we use the sleek bathroom because I just think it fit in with the style of the house quite nicely. And it's modern, but I still think it can fit into this era of house quite well, because of the colour choices and stuff. And I was happy with it. This is me trying to figure out a plan in here as well, but I end up going back to that one there. It's absolutely fine. We do change the sink. I'm completely lying. We don't end up using this sink. We go for a basic game sink instead. This one here. Again, still fits in, I think, with the styling, but it's just a little bit smaller. It was easy enough to like fit into places quite well. So that's what I went ahead and did. I'm just very pleased with it. I do like the outcome of this. I will get this up on the gallery for you lovelies too. So if you do want to go and download it. But I would implore you to go and download Shannon's original build and put your own stamp on it. I'd like to see what you do. Yes. Yes, I would indeed. Little challenge for you, shall we say. So we're up to the kind of, it's the whole living area really. In the beginning, I go for the tiles on the wall, but I end up getting rid of them. They were just a little bit too busy for what I wanted to do in here. So I do end up getting rid of them. You'll see what I do in just a second. But this is where I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to lift the platform of the living room up just for a little bit of architectural, I don't know, interest. And it worked. I think it looked so much better with it. And it plays around with space a lot nicer. Having a bit of a raised level up, it gives the feeling of separation as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a professional, I'm not an architect, but that's the feeling it gives me. So that's what I'm going to say. Okay. I do end up swapping all the doors as well. They are exactly the same as all the other doors, but I just make them look fresher and newer without all of like the divots and stuff in them. I just thought it was important for that, indeed. So the living room itself is quite small. I only put in a sofa and a couple of little chairs in here, but it's a very cozy little living room nook. Put in some light up shelves, a little clock up on the wall there. We use the Casanova sofa because I just think it fits in here perfectly. And with the exterior doors, I end up putting in those base game doors with like the windows just for a little bit of light coming in. Also, I do think it fits in with the style of this house quite nicely. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. But yeah, very stylish, very mid-century. Gorgeous as far as I'm concerned. I do like the outcome of it. I really do. And then I just littered this with different books, change all of the swatches on these, and I'll put a plant up on these shelves as well. So they've got areas to come and get books from. So they're going to be absolutely fine, loves. Absolutely fine indeed. It's me whiffling on down to get that plant. It doesn't fit up on a shelf. So I'll make it fit and flop it into the corner. It does like... I just cover the bit that was going in with the plant itself. Fine. Absolutely works a treat. What are we getting here? Oh, some wall lights. Yeah, these like orb wall lights that I do size down just to bring a bit more lighter. Or lighter? lightness over into the living room area. And then we go ahead with these globe lights that we've used everywhere, and pop them there. And I just think it works. Oh, we're getting a visit from Daisy. She just came into the room. She's probably too hot lying in the sun in my bedroom, was probably. But yeah, dining room. So the dining room is just off of the living room area, down on the kind of like normal floor level. And I just think it works nicely down there. Did the same with the door by the dining room as well. Put in the glass door there. And I just think it brought this space together really nicely. And it just looks swish. I'm going to say it. I'm going to toot my own tuppence, loves, and say it just looks swish. And I'm very pleased. So this is me going to put in the wooden paneling into the kitchen as well. Tried a few of the kitchens, but this base game one worked the best as far as I'm concerned. With the swatches that I had, and also the style. I think the style looked really nice within this house. Just did. Very much did. But yeah, when I do come around to doing that Frank Lloyd Wright inspired house, I'm going to do it with some custom content, I think. We haven't played with custom content in quite a while, so that's what we're going to bloody do, darlings. Because this kitchen was a nice big space as well, I decided to putting in an island, and I think that just made it. It pulled it together. I put the sink on the island too. And yeah, just a nice layout, that kitchen, and I think it fits into this space really nicely too. Yeah, great. Put in a few little appliances here and there as well, and yeah, just very pleased. I was very, very pleased with it. I know I keep saying I was very pleased, but it's just because I was very pleased. This little area off of the living room, I thought it'd be nice to have a table and chairs out there, and I put a few sun loungers and on the other bits, and we're up to the bedroom suite now. So I pull in again, putting the paneling where the wallpaper was, and you can see all the bits that I'm missing. I'm kind of going around and getting them as we go. But this is a very big space. I decided to break it up using some dividers and also like a kind of separate living room area moment. And I also put a desk up in this room as well. This room had loads of skylights in. I did have to get rid of one because it was kind of cut. There we go. Because it was kind of cutting into the boiler room. And then I just edited the roof a little bit. And I thought it was perfect. Perfect that way. And yeah, lovely. You can see I've pulled out one of the chairs from... Oh, where's that from again? I forget where that's from. Is it from Life and Death? Or... I have no idea. No idea where that sofa's from, but we put one up here. We put two up here. And that's the bed I decided to go for. I just think it fits in with the theme quite nicely. Double wardrobes. It's got bifold doors on this level too. You obviously saw me put in bifold doors downstairs as well, so there was more than one window. There was some bifold doors, but it makes the space. It opens it out. It was in the original plan. Okay. And yeah, this little area, using those chairs, we go for a bit of a lighter wood here. I just thought it lifted it nicely with the colour of the walls that I painted it. Nice little plant in this area. It's all going on, isn't it? All going on indeed. I don't know how much of this video we've got left. We've got 1 minute 45 seconds down there, look. But yeah, I haven't used that base game art in a hot titty minute, but I just thought it fit into the space quite nicely. And yeah, very pleased with it. Very pleased with it indeed. This is where the desk's going, obviously, right at the top of the stairs. And I just think it just adds a nice separation. This little alcove here, decided to put a little bookcase in here. It wasn't lit very well, but I just thought it made best use of that space, to be honest. And then finally, onto the big kind of like ensuite of the bedroom suite. So I put in a full bath in here, a shower. We do all sorts, and it just, yeah, it fits in. It's the same as what we did downstairs. It took me a while to get the layout right, but in the end we did get it. But that's it. I'm going to say goodbye to you now, my loves. You're going to go and watch the before and after video tour, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some Let's Build the Worlds. Goodbye.